every now and then just turns to chaos. Welcome back to a slightly tidier workshop. Okay, so new project on the bench today. I've been watching Exocaged RC, I'll stick a link in the description below, and he's been building what he calls the Superlite, which is a axial wheel builder's kit that basically he's been chopping stuff out of, rearranging, moving stuff around in order to try and create a lightweight rig. Now, I don't know what, I think some of his rigs are quite heavy, and it's a bit like mine. You know, if you take something like my TF2 Marlin, you know, that tips the scales at like 3.3 kilos, 3.4 kilos with a battery in it, which is, you know, it's good in terms of working tyres, but by the same token, you've actually got to drag that weight up the hill in the first place, or up and over the rocks. So having watched what Exocaged did, I figured, man, it'd be worth the go. So part of the reason that this place just looked like utter mayhem was I've been collecting together new bits, spare bits, old bits, cast-offs, take-offs off kits, anything like that, and actually today I just had it all hacked down on the desk so I could see whether I'd got enough stuff to build my own Superlite. And then, as is the way, you end up building and chopping stuff off. So effectively this is the start point. It's a set of cheap carbon fibre frame rails from China. They cost me £9. I got lucky, I managed to order them in January before this, you know, coronavirus thing hit properly. So they came in, and then I'd already got a spare set of axles for an SCX-10-2. The skid plate on this is the leftover. If you get an SCX-10-2 Cherokee kit, then you get a new skid plate, or you get a spare skid plate for taking the traditional axial 3-gear transmission rather than the inline one. And I've hacked that one, you know, I've hacked my SCX-10-2 around so much that I've got things like, you know, well, what's left of the battery tray and the supports and such like. So I've got a few leftover bits. The plan is the ubiquitous Dodge Power Wagon body, simply because I don't have to piss around with a bed or anything else. I quite like the idea of a cab only crawler, and I think the weight of this is it 160 grams or something? It's pretty light for a cab on its own. Now in terms of other bits and pieces, we're using a RC 4-wheel drive 35 turn motor, because it's, well, it's in the spares box basically, it doesn't involve buying anything. I've got some new RC 4-wheel drive Wrangler MTRs 4.75, and I've wrapped those round a set of the Capra plastic 1.9 beadlocks. Found somebody selling those on one of the Facebook groups for £15, which is great. It gives me a low rotating mass in terms of the plastic, but it's a beadlock rather than a glue one, which gives me more tyre options. We've got rip-off links off the old SCX-10-2. There's most of a set of new links there. I've bought actual 3-gear transmission to go in it. We've got tiny 500 milliamp 3-cell LiPo batteries, because again they weigh, I think this one weighs 49 grams or something crazy, which is, you know, you can't go wrong, you know, tiny little thing. And I mean, my experience is typically, you know, if I'm just doing rock crawling or playing around in the local woods, then, you know, I can get on average about an hour per 1000 milliamps. So I'm hoping something like that is going to be good for a half-hour run, which is actually the main reason for doing all of this. You know, I know it's Sunday as I'm filming this, but we're expecting an update from Boris telling us what we can and can't do lockdown-wise, and I sort of, you know, I think, you know, from a sanity perspective, I'm not expecting any real change. We might be allowed out to exercise a bit more, but I think the whole lockdown thing is a good idea. However, I'm hoping that I can build this small enough and light enough that I can just fit it in a backpack. So the local woods where I have a run round are about a 10-15 minute walk away. So the plan is I can walk there, run the rig in the woods for half an hour and come back again, fit it within my hour's exercise allotment, and get some crawling in, because I'm missing it, to be quite honest with you. So I don't think there's really anything else exciting to point out. I'm just going to run a Hobbywing 1080 ESC, and for the moment we've got a cheap Power HD 20 kilo servo. We're going 4-link on the front end and the rear end, which means I get rid of the panhard bar. This is one of the problems with the SX10-2, where you don't actually have enough clearance. The panhard normally hinges off the bottom here because it sits on top of runs over the diff. It limits your upward suspension travel, and as I want to run this a bit lower, I thought it would be a bonus to go for a 4-link and go from there. So at the moment, it actually feels deceptively light, given that that's pretty much the entire structural integrity of the truck is good to go. Got to build up axles. I've got some wild bore drive shafts, 3-gear transmission to do, so we'll start to put everything together. My only slight concern is the rigidity of the front end, basically, over with the shocks. I think, they've got the potential to roll in. I mean, the backs are a bit better because it's stiffened up with a brace on it. We might have to just turn a bit of aluminium up and do a cross brace across the top, and there might be a requirement to have one across the front. But I'm not sure how much room I need for steering, servo and linkages yet, so we'll have to play around with that and go from there. Okay, right, well, I'll do some building and we'll get on to part 2 at some point. Thanks very much for watching.